Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Noted Podcast. And this is the small mini series of Moonknight. We are on episode 3. Daniel, I kind of didn't like this episode. Just gonna get that out of the way.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it went by really fast, and all we saw was a bunch of fights that were kind of like, eh. Like, I would have been fine with more dialogue all of this episode instead of kind of two pointless fights. But we can get into that in a minute.
I kind of get that, but I really liked this episode,
Yeah.
and I didn't see it that way. I'm like, yeah, there wasn't like standard dialogue, like exposition, but I feel like we learned a lot about the relationship between Mark and Steven in this episode. They demonstrated and kind of confirmed who the dominant one is, and learned a little bit more about Lila, about her relationship with Mark. Like, I feel like we still got a lot of like progression in the story, despite the fact there wasn't just standard stop and talk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
We can get into that as we go. Okay, let's start off.
Okay, so pretty much the episode opens up with us learning about Layla's backstory and how her dad was like black market ties and just a bunch of like cool like art thief kind of people who would steal art and then like give it back to respected places.
Yeah, they called him an archaeologist, but she stole art and the artifacts, so who knows if he was truly an archaeologist.
Yeah.
Or if he was a mixture of an archaeologist and a thief.
I'm assuming kind of like a Indiana Jones kind of person.
Yeah, probably.
And then we go to Mark. Mark is in Egypt and he's chasing down people, and then he gets in a fight. And then Steven takes control, and then it switches to him in a taxi. Taxi's taken him to an airport, and then Mark wakes up, and then he chases more people, gets into another fight, and then Steven takes over, quote unquote. Steven takes over, and then he wakes up in dirt, and he fights more people, and then he goes to save or kill this kid that's on a ledge kind of thing. He's like, just tell me where Haro is. Where's the scarab? And then the kid's like, no, and cuts the rope kind of thing and bop on the ground. Bang.
Kills himself. Something big I kind of want to point out first before we move on from this scene is when Mark had the like blacked out and neither Steven or him took control, multiple of the people were already murdered and killed. So someone else took control and killed them. That's why I don't think it was Steven that did it. And Steven says he didn't do it.
Yes. Yes.
Which is exciting because this is actually part of the reason why I love this episode so much is we saw Steven go through this disorienting stuff, and now we're seeing Mark do it, and it's almost like the flip side of it. And I think that's such an interesting way just to storytelling and like cinematography wise to show us like the relationship between them. And it doesn't matter like who the host is, it's disorienting for everyone.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then Khonshu creates an eclipse to get the other gods' attentions. And then he sends Mark to the Great Pyramids so that he can talk to the other gods and have like a council. When they go in there, all of the gods like take control of the avatars' bodies. And then Khonshu makes his case that Haro is trying to resurrect Amit, and then that he's being like an evil person, and so they summon him, and then they have like a whole trial thing, and then pretty much Haro gets away like without consequence, pretty much, because the gods favor him in this situation because Khonshu has been apparently in the past unreliable and of the old ways kind of thing.
Yeah, and the new gods are not wanting to interfere whatsoever, and Hera pretty much makes it seem like Khonshu's obsessed with Amit, and Khonshu's obsessed with like dealing out pain and justice, and then this annoyed me, but he then started pointing out how unwell Mark is,
Yes.
and he pretty much just gaslighted the fuck out of the two of them.
Yes, he did. I mean, given
Kind of had to, but
he had to. And not only that,
yeah.
but like they are both kind of fucked in this situation.
Yeah.
The gods threaten Khonshu that if he messes around again, they're gonna like put him in stone
Yeah, if he
forever.
messes with the sky.
Yeah. And then Haro leaves, and then one of the other gods' avatars pull Mark aside, and they're like, "Yo, you gotta go find the sarcophagus of Senfu." And then Mark's like, "Okay." And then
It's the Avatar god who's friends with Khonshu, by the way.
yeah, yeah. I don't remember her name. I
I don't either.
wasn't paying attention.
It starts with a K. It's the goddess of love and music. I can tell you
Yeah.
that.
And then Layla shows up in Egypt, and I don't really remember how they meet up, but they just somehow
In a
find
marketplace.
they find each other in a marketplace, which it made me so mad because oh hey look, we're
Well,
in Egypt, there we go. It
the
makes sense
way
because she's been able to track him before, but like
the way they explained it kind of makes sense. So what happened was Mark went to a marketplace where there was this dude selling juice, and he ordered some juice, but then while he was getting juice, he asked him about the sarcophagus. So it was like they pretty much imply that's an undercover fence, like someone who is part of the black market and works in
yeah, but
daylight.
how did she know he was
And
gonna be there? That's my
well,
thing.
I'm
She just
I'm
popped out of
assuming,
nowhere.
well, she's from Egypt. She has connections to all of the black market. I'm assuming she was like, well, there's multiple fences he could check to, but the easiest one to get access is the one in the marketplace. So I
How
will
did she
I
know
will
he
check
was
that
looking
one.
for Senfu's sarcophagus?
Okay, that's fair.
It's a
That's
big
fair.
plot hole that just is like,
That's
"Hey,
fair.
I'm here. Hi, how you doing?" And then they go on a boat ride to go to this black market convention essentially. And on the way there, they talk about their relationship and how they're unavailable for each other kind of ish, and then Mark's like, "Yeah, you know, you never kind of knew me kind of thing." That's also later in the episode as well. But like he just like pulls away from her after they have like a moment, and then she puts her hair up all angrily, and they get off the boat, and then we meet
Well,
go ahead.
something real quick too is on that boat when they're having that conversation, she tells him, "I never knew about Steven. Why didn't you tell me?" And he's like, "Well, it wasn't important, and to be honest," he's like, I didn't know how." And then he's like, "And to be honest, up until recently, I had it completely under control." So it sounds like Steven has been like an alter for a while now, but like for a long time, but he's never been the dominant one until
Yeah,
recently.
yeah. I would say Steven probably became more dominant the closer that Mark was getting to Haro, because he had to hide more.
Probably.
um and then they go and they meet a character named Beck, who escorts them to a robed dude. I don't remember if we ever learn his name or not, but he has the sarcophagus tomb casket of Senfu for some reason. And
Yeah,
uh
rich playboy
yeah, yep,
philanthropist from
yep.
Egypt.
And then he he goes and shows Mark, which is standing in as her husband, and like they're playing like they're like role playing like, oh, well, we need to have like a cutesy backstory kind of ish. So they go in there with like a game plan, And then they're just like, well, we just want to see it. So they go into the fake pyramid looking tomb casket thing, and then they're like, oh, we really need. She's like, oh, we really need Steven. He could figure this out like super fast. So we have like a reflection conversation, and funny jokes are made, and then they get got. So they get found out that they're, you know, trying to do ish. And then Moonknight fight, bing bang shaboom, kick ass, everybody's kicking ass. Layla kicks ass with her awesome necklace killer sword knife things.
Yeah, she kind of has like the Moon Knight blades that's on his chest, but around a
It's
neck as
around
a
her neck, which
necklace.
does not seem safe.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I thought that was gonna be like foreshadowing that she was already in deal with Khonshu, but then no, it just turned out to be a blade.
Yeah, it made me nervous the second that she like took off her necklace, and I was just like, oh, imagine if you got choked. Oh God.
Or if you just fell.
Or yeah,
Fell
or
face
or
forward.
anything. Yeah,
You just
just
fell
literally
face
anything.
forward and applied any amount of pressure
What if
to
you
that.
decided to get in a taxi and you got rear-ended, and then you were decapitated?
Or the dude just decided to slam on the brakes really hard when you're going
Yeah.
really fast.
Yeah.
To avoid an accident, you just fly forward a little bit and,
Yeah.
hit the seat.
So then they kick ass. It's really funny when they are fighting. Mark and Steven are kind of fighting through the whole fight, and then Steven takes control, and he's just like, okay, time out, everybody, just calm down. And then he gets impaled by like 3 spears, and he's just like, okay, Mark, take back over. I don't want it.
yeah, he's like, come on, let's chill the F out. We can talk this out. Tempers are rising. Gets impaled. Okay, Mark, take over.
Yeah, it was so funny. That was like the big, honestly, that was like the big laugh that whole episode for me. Was just like, I thought that was so comical.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was so great.
So they kick ass. They get the scarab back, because Haro shows up at one point in this. I almost forgot that. He shows up at one point and is trying to like throw the situation, kind of. It doesn't work, and then he escapes. Honestly, I don't remember. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie.
What happens is, so he shows up while they're so Mark.
That's how they get got.
Well, no,
right.
no, because Mark is looking at the tomb, talking to Steven. They notice something's up. They come, and Mark steals the gun of the guard, but then they have other guns pointed at them. So they drop guns. They're taken in as prisoners from like the fence dude, or whoever this guy
Beck.
is, Beck, and then they're like about to kill them. Then Haro or like they're trying to explain why they shouldn't get killed. Then Haro shows up and is like, hey, I can show you, for one, whatever they've told you, don't believe it.
Yeah.
I can show you that the lore around these artifacts that you worship is real. And takes the staff and does some purple stuff with the staff, and then burns the sarcophagus and like destroys it. And then he's like, and I can offer you the beetle, and shows him the beetle. And then he takes the beetle and the staff. Scarab, sorry. Takes the scarab and the staff and walks away. Doesn't give him anything. Yeah. But now Mr. Richie dude is all on board. On board. He's like, okay, yeah, I need to know more about what this man knows, so I'm gonna kill you guys and then follow this dude, because and then that's when the big fight of the episode happens. Fast forward, Layla steals some of the broken parchment that shows the constellation map that they've been looking for, and they go deep into the desert.
Yes, sir. And then they kind of have a conversation of who they are to each other again, and all that jazz. And then They're
And that's
trying.
when he tells her, "You've never really known me," because she's like,
Yeah, yeah,
"It
yeah,
feels like every time I learn something new about you, I'm like, okay, that's it. I know everything about him. There's no more secrets between us." And then
yeah,
he's like, "No, you don't know me at all." And she's like, uber hurt by that. And
yeah,
Mark is doing Mark things, so
yeah.
no emotion
Mark, be a
whatsoever.
mercenary.
And what I love is so they go out into the desert. They start trying to like put the like shattered pieces of the parchment, because the parchment was more whole and then kind of got like burnt and ripped. And they try to put like the pieces of it together on the car hood. And Mark gets angry. And she's like, "We need Steven. Grab Steven, please, Steven. He knows he'll know what to do."
Yeah, because he's literally a Egyptian expert.
Exactly. And so he rips off a car mirror, which seemed a little unnecessary, but I'm about it, and
I
takes
loved
the
it.
pieces into the desert. So he's like, it shows like Mark's kind of like embarrassed, sort of, to like switch in front of someone.
Yeah,
Turns his
or
back to
have
light.
to rely on someone smarter than him,
Exactly. So he
but
like,
is still him.
yeah, it's still part of him, but he's not comfortable with doing it. So he like walks away from Lila and takes like the mirror, and like with his back to Lila, takes the mirror. It's like, okay, you're up, bud. Steven comes in. Steven's like, oh, and drops to his knees and starts like doing things,
Yeah,
and like starts fucking making quick work of it. And Lila walks up, and he like shoots her this look. I'm like, is Mark gonna start? Is Steven gonna start hitting on Lila again? Because the last time they saw each other, he's just like, "You are lovely. You are
yeah,
beautiful." Whatever Mark did, he's an ass. Like, don't like
yeah,
trying to like woo her. So I thought that was gonna happen this time. It didn't, but like she was just in awe of Steven like figuring it all out like
yeah.
uber quickly.
It was pretty good. And then he figures out the puzzle, and like all the pieces make like a star. Oh, how ironic, because it has to deal with stars. And then there was just I felt I the reason why I didn't like this episode, Daniel, is because I just felt like the everything was so cliche about it. That's why I didn't like it. Like the fact that the puzzle made a star and it had to do with stars is just like fuck you
Simple.
guys. Fuck you guys. Like, yeah, of course it made a star.
I
I don't
mean,
know. I
I
get
can
it,
I
but
can
it's
get
just stupid.
I can get why that annoyed you. Personally, I didn't even give it a second thought when it made it a star. I was
Oh,
like, "Oh,
it
cool, like it,
made
yeah,
me
whatever."
so
Like,
mad.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really care what it made, because like we already knew the moment Steven jumps in the body, he's gonna solve it. So
Well,
like
yeah. No, I
how
was okay with
easy
that.
he solves it, or what it shows up into, like this is just a minor plot. I don't know. I didn't put much importance on it, so it didn't. I can understand though why like that cliche annoyed you.
Yes. And then Khonshu turns back the sky like 2,000 years because he's like, we need to know exactly where the constellations were, when they
Because
actually were, kind of thing.
it
And
would affect
then,
where they're digging, like by 2 miles, whatever.
yeah. And then the gods seal him in stone, so Mark is Khonshu-less and has no powers
Yep, and
in episode 4. And then that's the episode.
exactly, and at the end of it, Conchu's like, "Hey, dude, Steven, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna need your help. But when I do this, tell Mark to free me." He's
Yeah.
like, "I'm about to get fucked, and you're gonna have to help."
And then, well, it's kind of the end. And then Haro's in the Great Pyramids. And then he has like a monologue with Khonshu's stone carving,
Statue.
whatever. And then the
Yeah,
episode ends.
yeah.
But yeah, I liked the episode. I just thought that it was like unnecessarily fast paced. And it was just like, let's progress the story because we only have 3 more episodes. And let's shove plot points down everyone's throats and build character arcs and unnecessary fight scenes because we have to fill quota. I liked the episode. It just felt unnecessarily fast.
I
That's why I didn't
can
like it.
I can agree with that. When it ended, it did feel, I was like, oh wow, that was
Like
quick.
it didn't feel like an
But
hour.
I mean, that kind of, because it wasn't. It was like 30 minutes, I think, right?
No, every episode's been like 51 minutes, I think.
Really? I only thought the first episode was that long.
I can check.
But I mean, even if it was an hour, then that just proves your point even more. Like, because it didn't feel like an hour, like you're saying.
First episode is 47, second episode is 52, and third
Okay,
episode is 52 as well.
fair. Yeah, no, it felt like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
And
it was very fast paced, and it was because there was unnecessarily long fight scenes, and
well,
that's what I didn't like about it.
I think that comes down to like kind of what I was complaining about at the beginning of this series. I hate the fact it's 6 episodes long. It feels like they're gonna have to squish a lot of stuff in it.
I don't know if
First,
they will have to
but
now because they've set the last 3 episodes. They set the last 3 episodes up in this episode.
well, yeah, they squished
Yeah, no, this
3 episodes worth
yeah,
of stuff into this episode.
yeah, and that's what I didn't like. I didn't like how they squished so much information. I just felt like I was being like info dumped,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
didn't feel like it was important. Like I loved everything they were handing me. It was just being force fed to me, and I was like, I'll eat it all, but I don't want
well,
it.
that's kind of why I I kind of disagree in a way, I guess. Like I see what you're saying, and I agree that it did feel like they squished a lot, and I wish it could have been longer. But because we know the episode
Oh no,
count, they're
I
gonna
don't want
have
it to be longer.
Well,
I
no, I'm
just
saying
want it
like
to be
split
written
up. Like
well. No.
I would want it to be split up. So like instead of trying to squish all of this growth of the plot into one episode, you have 2 episodes or 3 episodes to do it. But personally, why I don't feel like it was boring or like that I was being force fed in an uncomfortable way, all this info, is because normally when a show does this, it's stand and talk exposition. The way they did it, like they progressed the story of Mark and Steven's relationship, which by the way, there's probably a third altar being made.
Oh, there is. His name's Jake.
But huh? How do you know that?
Because there's comics.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
But
I think it's
we
Jake or Jack or something like that. Sorry, go ahead.
without knowing that about the comics, you can assume there's a third altar being made, and that you learn all of that info pretty much through just the interactions between them in the fight scenes. And it looks like Mark and Steven are finally starting to like work together a little bit, begrudgingly, but starting to work together. And then you get between fights here and there, you get more knowledge about Lila. I mean, there really was only like there was really the 2 long fights. And so I feel like they squished it, but I feel like the first fight I feel like the second fight was unnecessary. The first fight I felt like was necessary, and I was okay with it because they mixed in the switching between Mark and Steven in that. We got to see that there was like a third one in there. Then
I still liked it.
like
I just felt like
I
every
feel like
10 or 5 minutes we were switching a scene and like cutting to different people and like, hey, we're doing this, and now you're being given an objective, so now you have to go here, and now you're going to do this scene, and now we're going to be given an objective, and now we have to go here, and now we're going to do this, and we have to get this done, and now we have to go here. Like, I didn't feel like there was a flow to it. I felt like it was just chopped up bits of us changing destinations. That's why I didn't like it. That's what I'm saying. When I mean like force fed info, is just like it just cut so many times to different locations.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree with what you're saying, like how it is like a lot of stuff to put in there, and since they are only having to do it in 6 episodes, like it's kind of how they have to do it.
Yeah,
So.
and I feel like out of all the ways they could have done it, I do agree with you there. Like they did jump to a lot of locations, which can be jarring at times.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that they used combat to build the relationship between Mark and Steven. I like
agree.
that.
I like that as well.
personally, I thought that was a really creative way to do it, and that's why I really love this episode. Is we've spent 2 episodes watching Steven be extremely disoriented and Mark be the one trying to take over, and now we see the opposite.
Yeah.
And that I think is such a cool story writing way to like show the relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we're starting to see a new alter show up, and then later we learn that Steven is, well, or at least wasn't the original host, wasn't the original dominant one. So I do agree. I wish they wouldn't have jumped around as much, but I still feel like they did a lot of good things in the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, it was a good one. I would probably, out of all 3, I think in order, that is my favorite. I think so far the first episode's been my favorite. The second has been the second favorite. And then I think the third has been my third favorite.
I think for me, the first is my favorite, the third is my second favorite, and the second's my favorite, my least favorite. I like them all.
Oh no, same. I do too. Far this is my second favorite Disney Plus show. No, it's my third favorite.
Remembered Loki and WandaVision existed?
No, I remembered Loki.
Okay.
WandaVision is my favorite. Loki's my second favorite, and then this is my third, and then I was not a fan of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I really liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier a lot. I would say this show, Moonknight, I enjoy the third episode a bit more than the second one, because even though the second one, I feel like the second one was a lot of info dump. I feel like the second one was just in the way it was like they didn't scene change as much, but it was just a lot of talking and a lot of lore. And don't get me wrong, I do enjoy that, but it just like they quickly got the fact that okay, we have to get rid of Steven's job. They got rid of Steven's job pretty quickly. And then after that, it was just talking with Layla, talking with Harrow, talking with Khonshu, talking with Mark, talking with Steven. And it was just a lot of that, and I enjoyed what we learned. I thought it was cool, but it felt like it wasn't... It just felt boring at times with how much talking there was, comparative to this, where it still had a lot of talking, but it mixed in other ways to entertain you while progressing, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. I feel like the second episode is better paced, and this one was very fast and abstract.
I can agree that pacing wise, the second episode felt better. I can agree with pacing.
Yeah, I think the second episode is I can understand how it's slow, but it is way better, like, written. I feel like the first and second episode are more like a TV show, and this one was more like a movie.
I can see that.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that, because I understand that they only have 3 more episodes left, which is really sad, but...
Yeah. Disney Plus, stop fucking making small-ass TV shows. The point of a TV show is that you can make long-form content where people can grow with your characters, not do a fucking mini cameo series, so then you're like, oh, do you like him? Okay, we'll make a movie with him. Just fucking make a long-ass TV show. God damn it.
I am always down for 10 episodes.
Yeah.
10 episodes is a sweet spot. Look at HBO Max.
I'm not asking for too much.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm asking for 4 more episodes.
Yeah.
Because we all see what happened to Game of Thrones Season 8.
Too soon.
Anywho, that has been this week's episode of Noted. If you liked Daniel, you want to do whatever? I don't do that.
Hello, my name is Daniel. This is Noted. If you like us, you can follow us on Twitter at A Noted Podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube at The Noted Podcast. You can follow us on Spotify at The Noted Podcast. And Instagram, we're at The Noted Podcast. As you can tell, I tried very hard to make it very easy for you all to find us. The only one that's different is Twitter, and it's at A Noted Podcast. So give us a follow, give us a like. You have no excuses, bye. Please.
Same. Please, I'm desperate. I want to quit my day job. I need help.
I do. But also, Have a fantastic day.
No.
Follow us.
No.
Like, subscribe,
No.
comment,
No.
engage.
No. That's what our viewers do. No.
No. Hey, just be happy we're doing this at the end and not forcing
yeah, no
it
one's
in
gonna
the
hear
middle.
this. Yeah, no one's gonna hear this, dude.
in the
Just
beginning.
imagine that. I could be like, fuck you guys, no one loves you, and they're never gonna hear it.
And I'm okay with that, because you know how many times I've watched a video and they do it in the beginning or in the middle? I'm like, I get why you do it, because this is when you have retention, but also I want to click off your video right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do. Sometimes
I do too.
Sometimes I petty click off. I'm like, I do want to watch this, but I don't want to listen to this. So I swore that if I ever started making content, I'd do it at the end.
Yeah. Yep, well, okay, bye.
Okay, bye.